is Joy News Prime.
In our very first story, the Ghana Health Service has directed a redistribution of a ready-to-use therapeutic food known as plumpy nuts to communities experiencing a shortage. This was after Joy News investigations revealed lots of children suffering severe malnutrition in the northern region could die as a result of an acute shortage of the supplement. Justice Baidu was in the Nanumba North District of the region where he found out the Ghana Health Service has not supplied the nuts to the region for the past 3 months.
This image looks like those out of a refugee camp, or worse, a war-torn country. A heavily malnourished child desperately crying for help. He looks so emaciated, you can even count his rib bones.
The upper arm circumference is 9.5, so it means the child is severely malnourished. The child is wasting.
Baby Abdul weighs 6 kilos, way less than what a 1.5-year-old baby like him should be weighing. Abdul is just one of many stunted children who have been brought here to the health center in Leposi for ready-to-use therapeutic food, otherwise known as plumpy nut. But there aren't any here. The critical lifesaver for children like Abdul suffering stunting ran out here more than 3 months ago, and the Ghana Health Service is yet to supply them. Ma Monimbe is Abdul's mother.
Some of the children are born malnourished. And in this area, when you give birth, we get pregnant early again. So a child would be 3 months and the mother would get pregnant. So we can't breastfeed, and so they get malnourished.
These plumpy nuts could mean the difference between life and death for hundreds of children suffering acute malnutrition in communities like Leposi. They've already done 3 months of wait, and as the clock ticks, nobody knows how many more days they would have to wait. This small town in the Nanumba North District is one of the towns with the highest malnutrition numbers in this area, recording at least 3 cases of stunted children every month. Daniel Al-Hassan, the nurse here, says time is running out for the children.
My fear is that if we don't get this plumpy nut in time, most of the children will experience a severe form of malnutrition. These children, when they are malnourished, their immune system suppresses. So any little infection takes the child away. Something like common malaria can lead to death.
The most affected are the underones and are pregnant women.
Dr. Stephen Dadia is the district health director for Nanumba North. He says the shortage is a regional crisis.
For the past 3 months, we could take delivery of over 50 cartons of the plumpy nuts. But as I speak to you now, 2 weeks ago when we went to Tamale, one made a request. We had only 4. It is a regional-wide issue. It is not just Nanumba North.
Several lives are dependent on the supply of these plumpy nuts, and that must be soon rather than later. Justice Baidu, Joy News, Leposi.
So the Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Anthony Nsiah-Sarrey, says they are seeking to mop up the ready-to-use food supplements from areas that have excess stocks to be sent to districts such as the Nanumba North, even as they work on importing fresh stocks. Yava blames the shortage on a drying up of donor support following Ghana's classification as a lower middle-income country.
Because we are lower middle-income economy, we are being weaned off on a lot of aid support that we get from our development partners. So because of that, there is a local company in Bronhafo that has been doing also this food supplement for us, the ready-to-use therapeutic food for us. So we are not getting also the full complement from that end. And that is the way that we are bridging up, and we are trying to be self-sufficient in case UNICEF moves out complete. So we want to reach a stage where we will do it ourselves in country. And that's the way that we are going to solve the problem once and for all. So we don't depend on UNICEF that if they cut down their aid to Ghana, then we have a problem. We will then also try and do what we can do to also improve on the malnourished situation in the district that we are having a lot of malnourished children. The director in charge of nutrition had a long talk of UNICEF, and the problem is being sorted out. Sometimes you will have also some of this food supplement in some other districts where they may not need it immediately. So my officers are also trying to mop up other ranges, other districts where they have more than enough to send to this district. So we'll sort that one out as quickly as possible. In the long term, we will also make sure that we have adequate budgetary allocations to take over completely from what UNICEF is doing. So these are the three-pronged approach that we have put in place, and that's what we are going to solve the problem.
Well, this issue is just one part of a major problem, which is a general lack of vital supplements following the withdrawal of donor support that comes with our status as a lower middle income country. We're working the phone lines to get the health minister on this issue. But let's first speak to Eric Banye, who is the council program coordinator of SNV, a civil society group that deals with malnutrition, health and food security. He joins us via Skype. Thank you for making time. Now, we anticipated in 2015 that we were going to be faced with this issue, but as it turned out now, we did nothing to avert the situation. You have been looking at this issue. How bad is it?
Hello? Hello? Hello,
all right, it appears Eric Banye is having a difficulty hearing me. Hello, Eric, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right.
Can you hear me?
So I'm saying that we anticipated in 2015 that we were going to be faced with this issue, but it turned out we didn't do much about it to avert it. You have been looking at it. How bad is our situation right now?
Thank you very much, and good evening to your viewers and listeners as well. I think the story Joy FM just aired is one of several similar situations in Ghana, and most especially in northern Ghana.
All right, we can barely hear you. I don't know if we can get to work the lines, rework the lines again and see if we can get you on a much clearer line. But you were making your point earlier, if you could just repeat it. All right, we have managed to reach Eric on the phone lines now. So Eric, you were making your point about how bad our situation is. If you could just repeat yourself.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. I said, I think the situation Joy FM just presented about Bimbilla is only one of several similar cases in the country. The situation of malnutrition is so bad that time is not only running out in the case of Bimbilla, but time is running out for Ghana as a whole. The issue of plumping nuts not being supplied on a regular basis is something I think as a nation we shouldn't be talking about as at now. Because years ago, we're very sure about donor funding going to be reduced in the country as long as we move into the era of lower middle income country. Of course, this is one of the disadvantages of going into that kind of situation. We knew that donor support will reduce. And if we have our own development program, which is nutrition, being supported by development partners, we needed to put in the measures to ensure that we take off from wherever they are going to stop. And for me, it just shows a clear case of lack of commitment in addressing nutrition in this particular country. And unfortunately, nutrition as a whole has always been seen as an afterthought. We don't deliberately plan to address malnutrition in this particular country.
All right, you talk about the situation, Eric, being that bad. Is it that bad that we can say that we've lost some children as a result of the acute shortage?
As long as you have lost one life, it is bad. There are situations where a lot of children they've died, and probably they've not recorded them that they died out of malnutrition, but of course they will die out of other associated diseases, and that's what they will record. But I think that this particular country, the situation of malnutrition is so bad that we are training a generation of malnourished children that will manage the economy of this particular country. And if we do not take care, in the next 2 decades, we will have a number of adult populations that are already malnourished from infancy. And therefore, it comes with all these effects in terms of mental ability to manage the country, your physical strength, your dependence on the already poor health facilities in the country. And that is why we needed to put in all the necessary measures, address the malnutrition, especially infant malnutrition in the country. And if we do not do that and still continue to pay lip service to nutrition, the situation we have just witnessed in Bimbla will catch up with all of us, even if we are in Accra, and the effect is very big for this particular country.
All right.
So I think, as the Director General mentioned, we should not just be reacting to where a district asks for the plumping nut and we rush to provide them. We should be looking at a more concerted approach in terms of how the country as a whole will plan, will budget, and will show some form of commitment in addressing malnutrition in the country.
All right, the issue has to do, I would want to believe, largely with funding, because yes, we're a lower middle income country, but we do not have all the funds to buy as much plumpy nuts as we need. How do you suggest we go about it? Should we probably be producing this ourselves? Can't we be producing it ourselves?
Perfect. You see, we live in a country where agriculture is predominantly focusing on income. We produce and sell or export. That should not be the focus. I think we should come to a point where we are producing to consume. If we know, and we have the experts in this country, nutrition-sensitive value chain, how much of this value chain are we producing to consume locally? That we cannot do. What is in plumping nuts, that this country, we cannot do the mixture of plumping nuts. It is easy, and our government is promoting one district, one factory. I think this is where we should direct some of our attention. Can we support many more private sector players to do some of these food supplements? Can we encourage farmers to produce these nutrition-sensitive crops, which they can use and reduce the malnutrition in the country? Or else, all the investment we are putting in as a nation in the education, in the health, will come to zero. As long as people continue to become malnourished and depend on the health facilities, as long as they become malnourished and go to school, you will not be able to achieve the desired income. Going forward, I think that government should show clear commitment in addressing this issue. It is possible for a lot of manufacturing companies to produce nutrients, food supplements in this country. That will be sufficient for every child in the country. And that's what we should be emphasizing on.
All right.
For me, if the presidency sees nutrition as a pillar in the development, the economic development, and decides to house the nutrition unit in his office, it will speed up implementation process than to allow nutrition to be addressed by several ministries like Agri, Health, Education is there, Gender Unit is there, Local Government is there. When you started like this, everybody seems to be doing so well, but collectively we are not doing enough to address malnutrition in the country.
All right. Thank you very much for making time to join us, Eric Banye. And you're watching Joy News Prime. We're taking a break at this point, but still ahead in the bulletin. The Auditor General is threatening to freeze salaries of public officials who frustrate its work, as it also seeks prosecutorial powers so it could be more effective in checking the misuse of public funds. Now, Joy News has been unable to bring you the documentary Missing Kilos. There's a reason for that. We'll be telling you that in the bulletin. Stay tuned.